Hi, everyone. Welcome to our USAC panel here. Just letting you guys know first off, my name is Ariane Iqbalian. I am the Education Abroad Advisor for Culverhouse College of Business here at UA, and I'm joined here by Rachel Hardison, representing USAC. Just to let you guys know that this panel is being recorded and will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel at a later date. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions for Rachel, feel free to put them in the chat box or wait until she's done with her presentation and you can turn on your speaker and ask your questions then. And right now I'm gonna hand it over to Rachel. So take it away.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Again, my name's Rachel. I'm from USAC. Thank you for joining me. I know you're probably sitting in front of Zoom classes all day, so learning about study abroad in Zoom is probably, not the most exciting thing. So I will try to, give you exciting information, but I do appreciate that you're here. And like Ariane said, you can put your questions in the chat. I am happy to talk if you want to, turn on your mic or turn on your camera and your mic, whatever you're comfortable with. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I just have a brief little PowerPoint just to give you some of the highlights of USAC, but please do, share any questions that you might have there. Okay. So let me make sure I can see what I'm doing. So again, I'm with USAC. So obviously, at the University of Alabama, you have the option of studying abroad on a ton of different programs. You have different exchange programs and faculty-led, and then a bunch of different study abroad organizations that Alabama partners with. So I just wanted to point out a few things about us that make us a little bit different as you're sifting through all of the options. We are a nonprofit organization, and so we are known for having more affordable programs for students, and that ties into that second point about having a lot of non-traditional locations. So one of our focuses as an organization is really to help you as students have as authentic an experience as possible. And as amazing as Paris and Rome and Barcelona are, they're also, there are a lot of tourists and it's a lot more expensive and it's a lot harder to sometimes meet locals and feel like you're living there and you have a home there versus maybe just being a tourist. So a lot of our program locations are in medium-sized cities. We have a few exceptions. We do have a Shanghai program and London, a couple of those, but for the most part, like in Italy, we have programs in Verona or Viterbo, Reggio Emilia, places you might not have heard of. Or in Germany, we have a program in Lüneburg, which is right outside of Hamburg. In Brazil, we have a program in Florianopolis, which is a beautiful island on the southeastern coast. So we really try to focus on these medium-sized cities with, universities, lots of students, lots of things to do in the community, travel options, those kinds of things, but they're going to be more affordable for you. They're more affordable for us to run a program. So we can, have more affordable programs, and they're also more affordable in terms of cost of living, and hopefully a bit more authentic and local. We are based at the University of Nevada in Reno. So academically, we really pride ourselves on maintaining strong academics, to meet the standards that you would have as an Alabama student. And we have been around since 1982. So we're not new to the game. We've, been around running programs. Our first program was in San Sebastian, Spain. And so obviously we've, grown, learned, made some mistakes, learned from them. We've just been around for a while. A few other options, we do have some intensive language study options that students who are pursuing language study will gravitate towards, several where you can earn up to 12 credits of language in one semester. So if you're really looking to knock out a bunch of language credits or really work on fluency, we have some great options for those. On the flip side, we don't have any language requirements on all of our programs except I think Lyon, France has a minimum requirement of 2 semesters of French, but otherwise none of our programs have minimum language requirements. So you can go, to Prague or you can go to Chiang Mai in Thailand, or you can go to Brazil, and you don't have to speak the language and you can take your classes in English. But we have, like a lot of other organizations, we have a lot of locations, variety of terms. One thing that's also a little bit unique, I think, is that we do have a smaller program capacity than a lot of other providers. We tend, a large program for us would be like 70 students. So, we really try to keep our programs to a size where you have a community of students, but you're not anonymous, and our resident directors know who you are, and you can, connect with them and connect with other students. So we don't have any really that are going to be over like 70 students, and a lot that are closer, to maybe 40 students or something like that. So I don't want to take up too much time, but these are our program locations. So just to give you a snapshot of all of the countries where we have programs, you can see a lot in Europe, South America, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, do in Africa. So lots of variety. And within our programs, we have two different models. And so I just like to explain this if you are looking at any of our USAC programs, just so you know what you're looking at, because it is mentioned on the website. We have specialty programs and partnership programs. Our specialty programs are like the core of USAC. Those are USAC developed and administered programs, and those are typically in non-English speaking countries. So, in Reggio Emilia, Italy, for example, with the university we partner with doesn't have a curriculum or classes offered in English. And so we partner with the university there. Our staff is based there on campus. Our students take classes there on campus, taught by faculty there, but the classes are taught for USAC students. And so we can manage the academics and the focus, the academic specialty or focus of the program will vary by location. We have resident directors and their staff who are, like I said, based there on campus, who are helping, they're essentially managing and building and managing the program, but also, all of the activities and field trips and your housing and helping you if you have to find a doctor or go to the hospital or something, connecting you with activities and opportunities for immersion at the university. So that's the specialty program in a nutshell. There are internships as well, volunteering opportunities, but these are a bit more supportive. So you'll have a USAC community within the larger student community at that university. So you have this kind of subgroup, but you can join, clubs and organizations and volunteer and do lots of other things, have a language buddy to connect with students there on campus. The partnership programs are essentially like facilitated direct enroll programs. So we partner with the university, like Griffith University in Australia, for example. We partner with that university to help to send students to directly enroll there. And so you're part of, there may be 30 USAC students at Griffith University for the fall, but you're part of a bigger international student population. And you participate in the activities, the orientation, everything that's arranged by that university. So maybe similar a little bit to an exchange program at UA, but you still have the USAC staff here who are supporting you throughout the process and processing your applications and helping you through the visa process and all of that. But we don't have staff in those locations, so we partner with the universities in that respect. And your transcript is directly from that university. So those are just some basic differences between the two. Those partnership programs can be a bit more independent. They really vary within that group, but they also offer more in the way of course availability because you're at a university that's either English speaking or has a broad curriculum in English. So you have sometimes more course availability on partnership programs. It just kind of depends. But I just like to go through those differences. So this is just a list to show you for the specialty programs. You'll see, they're all non-English speaking countries because, we need to kind of build something to provide that extra layer of support or academic, meet certain academic needs. And then our partnership programs are either predominantly English-speaking countries where you don't necessarily need, that same level of support, or non-English-speaking countries like Japan or Korea or the Netherlands, where a lot of the university curriculum is being taught in English, and they have a very established international office that's already providing everything that we would provide, and it doesn't make sense for us to add on that cost, to you to then duplicate essentially what the university is doing. So, so these are the partnership programs. So in terms of additional activities beyond the academics, on our specialty programs, there are always field trips that are included that will be listed on our website. It may say, they have included in the past, there may be examples, but there are always multiple field trips that are included, and activities that aren't even listed because our staff on site are constantly, either arranging activities or saying, hey, this festival is taking place this weekend, who wants to meet up and go? And, so there's just a lot of impromptu organizing of activities as well. With the partnership programs, the field trips kind of vary depending on what those universities offer. And then for specialty programs, we typically have a larger tour that's optional to you. So again, because we focus on trying to be as affordable as possible, we recognize that if you're in Po, France, you might not want to spend the extra $500 to go on the Paris tour. So you can opt out of that, or if you'd like to do it, you can add it on. But there are a lot of ways to customize your experience like that through USAC. And then other immersion opportunities. So like I said, joining clubs or organizations, sporting activities, those are often a great way to meet locals, and, volunteering, different things like that. Buddy programs where you get paired up with a local student, whether that's for language or just like in Thailand, there's a great Thai buddy program, and that's not because you're necessarily practicing Thai, but you're just, meeting local Thai students. And then we also offer internships as well on almost all of our specialty programs, and many of the partnership programs have internships. And so there are more details about that on our website too, but they're for academic credit and typically within your field that you're looking for. And one thing I like to point out in terms of finances, so this is just a broad overview. These are just a few select locations where we've tried to show, we've added up program fees, housing, airfare, visa, food, and estimated personal expenses to give you a rough estimate of what a full semester might be in that location. So you can get an idea of how that might compare to a semester at University of Alabama. So you can see, obviously this is not every location, but there are options in every region of the world that are going to be, on the more affordable end of the spectrum. One thing we have here are interactive budget sheets on our website. So every program, let's see if this works. Hopefully it will take you to our website. Did that work? No, it didn't work. Okay, well, I'll just go back to the presentation. But they're on our website. So these interactive budget sheets, we have, anytime you're looking at a program, any program for any term on our website, if you click on fees, it'll give you just the basic program fee and then a link to the interactive budget sheet. And that's where we have, kind of from start to finish, the program fee, housing, estimated meals, estimated transportation, if you have to get any vaccines, if you have to get a visa. So we are really trying to make sure that all of the costs that you need to consider are transparent, and then you can really come up with a good budget and figure out, what you have to put towards that. And speaking of that, all federal aid will apply. Anything from your institution, you would have to talk to your study abroad advisor or financial aid, but our approach is that we will accept anything that you can use. Anything that you can get released to you for study abroad, we will accept. So if your institution allows you to take that, that's great, but definitely, federal aid and Pell Grants and Parent Plus loans and all of those kinds of things. We also have scholarships that are available, and we have a scholarship coordinator who meets with students, not just to discuss scholarship applications, but also to help, talk about financial planning and maybe identifying a program that fits your budget better, or, alternate ways to fund study abroad too. And we have a whole section on our website called Money Matters, but I won't click on that because apparently I'm not doing something right. And we have other flexible payment options as well. So we do have an installment plan where students can pay over a certain period of time. We have a financial aid deferment process so that you can, defer the portion of your program fee that would be covered by financial aid, things like that. So we really we try to work with you and be as flexible as possible to help you make it work. And just in terms of other resources that are available to you, so our program advisors are essentially our study abroad advisors. So they're experts on they are experts on their region of programs. They focus on a specific country or region, and so they're the ones who are going to be working with you, basically from when you're accepted all the way until you leave. And they're also there, while you're gone, if you have any questions, helping you apply for visas and decide between housing options and, understand what kind of culture you're going to be living in, all of that pre-departure advising. Like I said, we have the scholarship advisor. And then in terms of other resources on our website, we have our search bar, which I have a picture of in another slide, where you can choose your major. Let's say, you choose finance and fall 21, and it will filter out programs that fit that major and time period. We can provide you with a past participants list if you'd like to talk to other students. Maybe you're deciding between, Alicante, Spain and Bilbao, Spain, and you want to hear from students who went to both just to get a better idea. We can connect you with those participants. We also have a great blog. And then the info sessions that are posted on our website, we have like 2 every day that are, short, like 10 or 15 minutes. They're program specific. So if you just want to attend one to get a better idea of a specific program you might be looking at, those are on our website too. And just a couple new opportunities. We do have virtual programming, as I'm sure you've seen popping up. So we have online courses that students can take either to supplement, what they're taking at home. If you wanted to take a unique course that would meet a requirement that you have on campus. We also have virtual internships. We had our first group over the summer, got our second group right now over the fall. So those are going well. And then we do have a new term we're calling our accelerated term starting this spring. So this is it's a 90-day term, which is a bit shorter, which means it's also a lower price. It's on average about 25% cheaper than the full semester fee. You can still earn 12 credits, so a full semester's worth of credits to meet financial aid requirements. But in most places you don't need a visa if you're going for 90 days or less. So it also eliminates the visa requirement in several places and just allows students to maybe come home and work or take, classes during the second half of the semester, do whatever it is that they need to do, if they don't want to be abroad for a full semester, but maybe longer than a summer. And just in terms of getting started, and then I think this is it, and I will be happy to answer any questions because I know I've been talking at you a lot. But this search bar here at the bottom, if you go onto our website, I think it's at the top of any page on our website, so that's where you can search for a program by major or time period. Our main email address, if you wanted, if you have any questions, and you can just send it there, and then we'll answer them or connect you with the right staff member. And then just the apply now button should you get to that point in the process. So this is just kind of what to do next in terms of getting started, and the info sessions I would definitely recommend. So I think that's it. Those were just the basics that I wanted to share about USAC and where we have programs and kind of what makes us a little bit unique. But I will go ahead and stop sharing that so I can answer any questions that anybody might have.
Yes, chat, or if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box, which is on the bottom part of your screen, or you can unmute yourself and ask away.
And while you might be considering questions, I'll share the website since I wasn't able to, since I didn't do it right last time. This is our main website. And so this is the search bar I was talking about. And right here is a link to our info sessions. Like I said, they're short. We have about a month and a half out on the website, and you can just see, which programs they are. There's a USAC 101 every week, which is essentially what you just enjoyed, but you could also attend that. It's more of a general overview. But then there's program specific ones. So if you are leaning towards a specific location, And I think we are going to start offering some that are more major specific or maybe, different topics. But that's linked right from that main page. And then I'll show you one of those budget sheets because I just love those.
Actually, if
Oh, do we have a
we
question?
have some questions, so
Oh, good.
in the chat. So first off, Anna is wondering, what are the most popular programs in Spain? I think, Anna, if you can put in the chat what maybe your major is, because that might help narrow things down. Because there's a lot of programs, if I'm not mistaken, in Spain.
Yeah, so we have 5 programs in Spain here. So Alicante, which is on the Mediterranean in the southeast, Bilbao and San Sebastian are up on the northwest coast, like in the Basque region, and then Madrid in the middle and Valencia also on the Mediterranean. But they each have a different, I'm trying to see if I can't see the chat for some reason. Oh, there it is. They each have a different academic focus. So they all are going to be consistent in terms of Spanish language and the language and literature and culture and those kinds of courses. But then each one has a different focus. So Bilbao, it has a business focus. Valencia has more STEM classes. San Sebastian has kind of a mix of psychology and European studies. Madrid has more like art history and European studies. So sometimes you can just pick, if you're just there to study language, then you could look at any of them, but it might be that one fits your major.
Yeah, she says she's in business, but could take a variety, so.
Okay, for business, I would definitely start with Bilbao because that is a business focused program and also has a lot of internships that are in different business areas. So that's really the best fit if you're focusing on business, but if you can take a variety of classes, Valencia sometimes has, a couple, it's not quite as extensive because it has more of a STEM focus. I don't know, in terms of popularity, I'd say it's kind of, it depends on what you're looking for. Madrid is a really big city, kind of more well-known. Valencia is a larger city, but it's on the Mediterranean. So if you're looking for maybe a larger city that's not quite as big as Madrid, that's also in a different region. Alicante is also on the Mediterranean, but a bit small, more like a medium-sized city. So they're all popular. I mean, Spain is like our most popular country, but I think among the 5, it just varies by what the students are studying or maybe what part of Spain you want to be in.
Okay. And then Braden he's asking, or she, pardon me if I misgender you, what cultural factors might students need to consider and prepare for with studying abroad?
That's a good question. There's a lot that goes into that. I mean, I would say you don't have to know a language, but it's always helpful, even if you're going to be in Thailand, studying health and wellness, it's nice to at least be aware of perhaps some basic phrases, what the religion, if there's a predominant religion or not, like in Thailand, they're a Buddhist society, so how that might affect, your daily interactions. If it's a more conservative place, or if it's somewhere where you could walk around in your tank tops and shorts, or just being aware of like those cultural norms, doing a little research there too. But that's something that our program advisors also do as you're preparing to go, is once you've chosen and applied for a program, is they're going to be sending you regular cultural updates so that you are more prepared for the culture that you'll be entering. But I would also say, especially if you are if you perhaps identify with the LGBTQ community, definitely researching what the climate is there, just so you're aware of how accepting, how accepted you may be, or those views as well. So I would definitely consider that if that applies to you. So those are some things. I mean, you could even just, I would just start looking at the, some basic phrases.
Dietary restrictions.
Dietary, that's a good point. Yeah, like when I went to visit our program in Uruguay, I had no idea that there are 3 cows per person, per human being in Uruguay, and they eat a ton of steak. And so it's definitely considering dietary restrictions if that applies. But yeah, there's a lot to consider.
Are there any other questions from students? Feel free to put them in the chat. In the meantime, I didn't really touch upon it, but I figured all students would be interested about this. So let's say a student is wanting to go abroad this spring and COVID-19 sort of interferes with the plans. What is USAC's policy regarding, refunds and program cancellation or transitioning from in-person to virtual? Can you touch on those points?
Sure. So that's a good question. We do have an updated refund policy that just went out. So if a program is canceled prior to the start date, then we will refund, all of the program fees for students. If it's canceled on or after the start date, we will attempt first to offer the program in some other format, whether that's online or perhaps in another city, if we need to move the location and make those arrangements. And so in those situations, if we are able to continue with the program in some way, then there won't be any refunds. But if we aren't able to continue with the program, we can't, move it online, we can't, keep it in country, but maybe a different location or whatever, then the students would be refunded and that would all depend on what time of the semester it is and how much, if it's 3 months in versus 2 weeks in, or, that is there's a variable amount there. So it just depends on if it's canceled prior to it starting or after. And then, for our other, I guess if a student chooses to cancel, then that refund won't apply. So it's really just if it's canceled by USAC. But if a student, if the student decides to if they just kind of get worried at the last minute, they're going to be held to our standard refund policies as if they just canceled for anything.
So just to clarify, so if they're on program and because I've had some students have concerns about their programming going from in-person to virtual. And if a student decides that they do not want to go do the virtual classes, they will not be refunded, just to clarify.
Yeah, not at this time.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we can still deliver the academic content and, deliver that piece of it, then there wouldn't be.
Because I have students asking that, so I just wanted to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's a valid concern, and you have to take all of that into consideration, before you commit to a program. There is a lot of uncertainty these days, unfortunately.
All right, so we are towards the end of our session. If we have any last minute quick questions, feel free to put them in the chat or unmute yourself.
Now I just posted my email to the chat, so if you do think of anything afterwards, if anything comes up, just hold on to that. You can either email me directly. You can I'll also add our general. I'm also responsible for checking the general one. So either way you email, I'm going to see it. So yeah, just don't hesitate to reach out if anything comes to mind afterwards.
And of course, if you guys have questions on the UA side of things, because you will have to do, if you decide to do a USAC program, not only will you be doing their application, but you will also be completing a second application with UA. And you have questions about that, as well as how to get your scholarships and financial aid to apply to your study abroad program. Please feel free to contact us at studyabroad@ua.edu. Okay.
Yeah, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I know you have a lot to choose from. It's a big showcase, so
thank you.
Lots of exciting things happening.
Thank you, Rachel, for taking your time out of your busy schedule to come to our showcase, and thank you everyone for joining us. And